What's up, everyone, and welcome to Football Weekly, Week 15. Ladies and gentlemen, the Super 7 for Alabama State Championships. I'm Joseph Sims.
And I'm Isaiah Wilson.
Now, we're not going to cover all 7 of the state championships. We're going to cover the 2 most exciting ones, and that means 7A and that means 3A. Montgomery Catholic versus Fyffe for the 3A, and then 7A, Auburn versus Thompson. Thompson trying to defend that state championship that they got last year, and boy, did they do that in the most exciting fashion as possible.
Man, going into the game, watching the GameCast, eventually at some point, you would have seen Auburn up 28-6. And at that point, you're like, man, Auburn's finna get this one.
Yeah, they're doing great.
But this is Alabama football. Anything can happen. Joseph, tell them about that one.
Anything can happen. That is absolutely right in this situation. And this is the first week that we didn't actually get our own footage, so we're using someone else's footage. Just a side note. But like Isaiah mentioned, at one point Auburn was up 28-6, and when it was in the last few minutes of this football game, that's when it got really, really interesting, as there was about a minute and 50 seconds, around 2 minutes to go in the football game, when Auburn had to punt to Thompson when they were up 28-19. That's the key note. Auburn is up 28-19 with about 2 minutes to go in this football game. They end up punting. Thompson almost blocks it with 5 rushers, but they get the ball at the 20-yard line. Now they have to go down and drive and score to keep this game interesting, and they throw an interception. So at that point, you're thinking, oh, man, Auburn really's got it in the bag now. There's only about a minute 40 seconds to go. They throw the interception. Now all they've got to do is get a first down. Nope. Coach Weingarten for Auburn decided he was going to kneel the ball down when he didn't have enough time on the clock to kneel it out. So what does that mean? That means they have to punt the ball back to Thompson. After kneeling it 3 times, Auburn punts the ball back to Thompson, but this time Thompson brings 8 people. And they get the block, a 60-yard punt return that was blocked for Thompson with 18 seconds to go in this football game. They get the extra point. Now they're down by 2, 26-28. And again, Coach Weingarten for Auburn, he has a big choice to make. All you got to do is put your hands team out there and get the onside kick. That's not plausible. They're not going to get it. Well, they do, because Auburn only puts 2 people on the right side of the hash. 2 people against 6 Thompson defenders. That is easy math for Thompson to recover the onside kick. And now this is when it gets even more interesting. First pass attempt for Thompson with 18 seconds to go. No timeouts. Pass interference. Pass interference 15 yards. From there, it's a 50-yard field goal. They can't hit a 50-yard field goal. What do? 9 seconds to go, they throw one to the end zone. A prayer, if you might please. Pass interference again. This time puts them on the 35-yard line. Now it's a 45-yard field goal. That's manageable. And it is the ugliest kick I think we've ever seen. Worse than the Alabama-Auburn kick.
Worse than our kicks, man.
Worse than that kick.
That says something.
Somehow, this kick goes in the bottom left-hand corner, and Thompson is your 7A state champion. Back-to-back for Thompson. And, man, did they do it in the most awesome way possible.
Yeah, man, that whole storyline for the game, man, you could tell me that 5 different times, 5 million different ways, and I still wouldn't believe it. I had to see it to believe it. And, man, did I see it when I saw the reactions. Phone was blowing up like, yo, you got to see what happened in the Thompson game. Thompson won. I'm like, no, Thompson didn't win. They were just down 22 points. How'd they come back so fast? Auburn just let them do that? Then I see the game, and I'm like, what was Coach Weingarten doing? I'm thinking, I'm not the perfect, Madden expert or whatever, football expert. But, common sense would tell you, when in that situation when they did get the ball back and they kneeled it 3 times, don't do that. Get the first down. So then you can
waste.
That's
too
safe. That's too safe, man. You're still leaving time on the clock. And he left a minute on the clock for Thompson.
Less than that.
Well, less than that.
24 seconds on the clock for Thompson to score twice.
Right. In basketball, you hear the 2-minute drill. Well, football, you hear the 2-minute drill. And in any sport, that has a clock or whatever, you always hear there's a minute to win it. You got a minute to win it. As soon as that registered in the Thompson players' head, some of them were crying. Others were like, man, I got a minute to win it. Let's see what we can do. Let's see if we can make a miracle happen. Boy, did their miracles come their way. Their prayers were answered. And now they're finna get a big shiny ring on their fingers. Back-to-back champs. Shout out to Thompson.
And another big note in this game, Thompson did this with their backup quarterback. Now, as exciting as that one was, there also was another exciting game, and that was the 3A state championship, which was played a day later at 10 o'clock, Montgomery Catholic versus Fyffe. Isaiah, What happened there?
Another upset, another comeback victory. Wasn't as big as deficit as 28-6 comeback. It was a 16-6 comeback. Catholic was up 16-6 at the half. And, you know, while I'm sitting in front of my computer, online school, I'm checking the score like yada, yada. Oh, I see Catholic's up 16-6. I'm like, okay, when they come back home, I'm going to be ready to congratulate them. We're going to get all the scoops. We're going to get all the tea. And we get to, you know, film them get their rings and stuff like that. But that's not what happened. Joseph, tell them what happened.
Yeah, what happened was Fyffe was able to do something that nobody thought they were going to be able to do. They were a comeback team, and even their own coach said that they're not a comeback team, but they were able to do so. And Fyffe is now 3-time state championships back-to-back. They did so back-to-back in 2A, and now they're doing it in 3A. A lot of people doubted and said they weren't going to be able to do it. They had to complete the winning season undefeated. Now, don't hold me to this, I think it's 44 straight games that they've won, Fyffe has. But, you know, this is a different story than the Auburn and Thompson one. The Catholic head coach, Coach Blackwood, did everything possible to do this. Fyffe just was able to make the plays that they were supposed to make, and it's not necessarily anybody's fault in this one. Fyffe was just, you know, they got the better plays. They got the plays when needed, the big connections when they needed to kick the field goals, when they needed to score touchdowns, and they eventually did win. And Fyffe now, you know, 3A state champions, but for Montgomery Catholic. Now, if you go back to last week when they beat MA, and we are talking to Coach Blackwell after the game, he said they had 5 offensive line starters that hadn't played together or a snap on Friday Night Football. They had 6 defensive starters that hadn't played a snap on Friday Night Football. They had a freshman quarterback. TJ Dudley's coming back. Coach Blackwell's definitely still there, and they've got something special. Each year that he's been there, they've improved. And last year, they only made it to the 3rd round of the playoffs. This year, they make it to the state championship. Next year, if patterns are anything like they're supposed to be like, Catholic might be your 3A state championships winners.
I'm calling their go undefeated.
Undefeated for Catholic.
I'm favoring that. That's my hot take for next season for Catholic. I'm predicting that they go undefeated.
And we've got a few big hot takes for next season, because that's what we're going to be looking forward to as this season is now over. It's come to an end, and we're excited to bring 15 weeks of Football Weekly to produce for y'all. And now we'll be exciting to move on to No Script, where we're covering anything and everything from sports to just what's happening in the world, to just doing stupid little challenges on YouTube, which we might have one coming next week. We've got a few ideas. People have hit us up and said, hey, you should try this, you should do that. Well, we're going to try it, and we're going to do that. So that's what we're going to be doing. And Isaiah, I'm pretty excited about it.
Very excited, very willing to risk it so we can get more biscuits.
Yeah, we need more biscuits, by the way.
Yes, and a biscuit with no gravy is just dry bread.
Can't be having dry bread.
Can't be having dry bread.
That's a week, 4 quote or something.
Yeah.
Way back when.
People still come up to me and be like, man, you know, what's a biscuit? And a biscuit with no gravy is? And I'm like, dry bread.
Dry bread. So we're excited to bring some new forefronts of stuff out there. We'll hit you up sometime. I don't know. This is a bad ending. Week 15, Football Weekly. I'm Joseph Sims.
I'm Isaiah Wilson for the last time.
Peace out for the last time until next week when it's No Script.
Right. Peace out.